inspiration. Keep listening to 2020 Vision Radio.
Hi, I'm Sister C of 2020 Vision Radio. Vision Radio is a non-profit making online radio station. All staff working to serve you, the listening and viewing public. As we serve, we also see the need to serve those who are not technically savvy, especially the elderly, the shut-ins, and persons with disabilities, to which end we are looking forward to take 2020 Vision to another level, of course, with your generous assistance of taking 2020 Vision Radio to the airwaves on the FM frequency. Go to our GoFundMe page, 2020 Vision Radio, and make a donation of which you can afford. Help us to help everyone in this quest. Thank you for what you're about to donate as we look forward to serving you online and in the not too distant future on 2020 Vision FM.
Legendary, promoting the vision of ordinary legends. Tune into 2020 Vision Radio every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. with the Honorable Cleone Stapleton-Simmonds and Desil Hamilton.
Legendary is a show promoting the visions of ordinary legends, and I am Honorable Cleone Stapleton-Simmonds along with my fabulous co-host Desil Hamilton.
I am Desil Hamilton. I'm excited as well to be here for Legendary, just to uplift and enhance people and show what people in our society are doing to uplift our country and the nation.
Call in live on WhatsApp via 869-669-7312. Our direct mobile number is 766-7312 and our landline number is 469-7953. Overseas callers can call in on 917-460-2187. Legendary, live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on 2020 Vision Radio.
Just like you. If you take a look inside, you see the great things that people do. Some things are just never said, no. Story of my life, ordinary person just like you. If you take a look inside, see the great things that people do. Changing lives day and night, but nothing I do ever makes the news. Still I have to do what's right, to the King of all kings all praise is due. Yesterday I was on a train, a little boy asked me my name. He said, sir, I've seen you before, tell me who are you? Said I am a legend that you never heard of before. I said I am a lion, but you never heard me roar. I am a hero that nobody celebrates, but if one person remembers my name, that means I made a change. I'm the man who cooks the food and feed the street people in the afternoon. I'm the lady with the broom, sweeping the halls of your son's preschool. I'm the soldier who's up all night, making sure everything's alright. And if you ask me, I'm quite fine, being an ordinary person doing what's right. Yesterday at the football game, a little girl asked me my name. She said, sir, I've seen you before, tell me who are you? I said I am a legend that you never heard of before. She said I am a lion, but you never heard me roar. I am a hero that nobody celebrates, but if one person remembers my name, that means on the ocean of fame I'm an unknown sailor. I'm the percussionist playing with the whalers, the one with the shaker, the mover and shaker. My name wasn't on the front of the paper, but me not cater. Much more than the worker, the work is greater. Creation glorifies creator. So all deeds done are in the name of my maker. I am a legend care about. Words from the lion's mouth. I am a hero that nobody celebrates. But if one person remembers my name, give praise, that means I made a change.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Legendary. Legendary is the show that promotes the vision of ordinary legends. And this evening, we have a very special show lined up for you. I have in studio with me, of course, my usual co-host, Nick Hamilton. He's not with us this evening, but we have substituting Mr. Shonroy Caesar, and Shonroy is no stranger to the show. And of course, we have also in-house DJ X-Ray, Renaldon Bartlett, and our special guest this evening is none other than Bynghi. So, yes, we have a great show lined up for you this evening. I just wish to say a pleasant good evening to my constituents there in St. Thomas's Parish and to everyone who is celebrating a birthday in the month of March, of course, the best month in the year. I also wish to say happy birthday greetings going out there to our good friend and family there, Rhonda Brown in St. Martin. Happy birthday, Rhonda, when it comes tomorrow. I know you're pretty excited. And to everyone else, we had quite a few good people celebrated in March. And so, it's a good month, a month of good, excellent people. So and I wish to offer condolences to those who are grieving at this time. I heard about the passing of a young guy there from Bath Village, and so I wish to express sincerest condolences to his family. And as we continue the journey here in Nevis, we had some incidents, a few things happening there in St. Thomas's over the past week. Well, Monday to be exact, I believe. Or Sunday, was it? Yes. During that time frame. And, I just wish to make a public appeal to persons that, we don't only have to respect each other as people, but we also have to respect, persons' craft, their property, their talents, their hard work. I find we kind of losing respect not only for self but for everything else, and so we definitely have to work on that as a people, because we're definitely too small to be destroying each other in this way. So I just wish to take this opportunity using this forum to make this public appeal that we really have to start, bring back that brotherly love that we had for each other just a few decades ago. I don't like the path where Nevis is heading, and we have to make some drastic changes if we are going to survive for, future generations. So, Bynghi, welcome. I'm going to now turn it over to Shonroy, who is going to give the listening and viewing audience some intake of your life and your talents. I know you're extremely talented.
Give thanks. Give thanks for being here.
Yes.
And for the invitation.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everybody out there in Radio Land who is listening, and those of you who are viewing via the Facebook page. Tonight we have in studios none other than Bynghi. Bynghi was born and raised in Farms Estate, Nevis. While on Nevis, he attended the Prospect Primary School, now named the Ivor Walters Primary School, and the Charlestown Secondary School. Shortly after graduating from CSS, he migrated to the United States of America and settled in Harlem, New York, where he stayed with his brother Ras Ujima Paris, a.k.a. Carl Paris. In New York, Bynghi featured furthered his studies at the Jazz Mobiles Music School after being encouraged by his brother and other friends who operated a theater company called New Thought Theater. The theater company specialized in poetry and music, and they were looking for a drummer. The group agreed that Ras Bynghi's passion for drumming and his discipline towards the art would make him the best choice. After 4 years of study, Ras Bynghi traveled throughout the United States of America, performing with various bands, especially those that specialized in reggae. He even worked with Bob Marley's mother for 8 years and met the entire Marley family. He recalls being invited to Miami by the late David Watusi Wade to contribute to his album and meeting a band called Copacetic, which was the leading reggae band in the area at the time. It was then he realized how far Nivision and Kitishan's talent can reach, as the lead singer of the band had deep roots in Nevis and the bass player had deep roots in St. Kitts. After 26 years of performing throughout the United States of America, Ras Bynghi decided to return to Nevis. He reflects that after being in the cold winters for so long, it took about a year for his body to readjust to Nevis. The year was well spent and included a daily routine of sea bathing and soaking at the hot springs to relieve the discomfort he faced. In 2010, he was at an event where his cousin Junior Paris was playing steel pan, and he prompted Junior to introduce him to his boss. Bynghi was able to secure a meeting with the head of the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, NCDF, and was quickly hired as drumming teacher. He is currently still employed at the NCDF, where he is the only drumming teacher catering to most of the schools on Nevis. Outside of his work at NCDF, Ras Bynghi's main interest is his very own Black Circle studio. His studio has seen the likes of numerous reggae bands, The Ultimate Band, and the recording artists such as Highlight, Deli, and Speedy. He has performed live with several local artists and bands such as Holy Rhythms. He teaches the African hand drumming in school. Ras Bynghi's favorite instrument will always be the entire drum set. He also loves studio sound, engineering, music arrangement, and audio production. Ladies and gentlemen, Ras Bynghi.
Give thanks.
Welcome, Ras Bynghi. So we are indeed in the company and graced with the presence of a true legend.
Indeed.
This evening.
Give thanks.
Yes, so tell us a bit about yourself, not only as a musician, but as a person. What type of person is Bynghi?
Consider myself a very quiet, very passionate person towards my work, and very no-nonsense person.
Yes, he is.
Indeed. So I see here that you presently serve as a music instructor at the Cultural Foundation.
Yes.
And I think I know you because you would have taught my son Nigel in several schools, in his preschool when he was at VNJ's.
Sure.
And I think you teach him at that class that he goes to at Jessup's.
Right.
Yes. So tell us what inspired you to really want to work with the children within our schools?
Basically, it was an opportunity that presented itself, because my intentions never really was to teach. I came back to Nevis really and truly because my mom was really ill. And so I came back to spend a little bit of time with her before she transitioned.
Yes.
And during that time is when the opportunity arose, and I decided to take advantage of it.
I just have to.
And in doing so, the love of teaching developed. Yeah.
I just
And it's been 10 years. 10
yeah.
years, yeah, since.
No, I was just saying, I just have to interject because in the interview today, I couldn't fit it in the bio, but I would want you to tell them how exactly you got the meeting with the head of NCDF.
Oh,
It's
that's
amazing.
very interesting. And it's a story that I tell in my classroom a lot too.
Okay.
I was in Houston, Texas, and we had a show to do at a restaurant. Entering the restaurant, I had my bass drum in my hand, carry it inside, rest it down, and on the front of the bass drum is a Sink It's Navy sticker. Because anywhere we go, I represent it.
Yes, indeed.
So, a person in the restaurant saw the sticker on the drum and approached me and said, are you from Sinkits or from Nevis? So me being a very curious person and cautious person, I kind of watched the man and I said, yo, you know what I mean? But I said, I'm from Nevis. He said, look, I think you have some family sitting at this table over here. You need to come and say hi. I said, what? But I'm way in Houston, Texas. Who know me in Houston, Texas? I went over to the table, met the people, and yes, they were family. Family, okay? We did this show. We asked them to stay and listen to us, and they did, and then they left, and never hear back from them people again. Until the day that I came to Nevis and end up at the old cinema. Junior, my cousin Junior Paris, he was teaching the senior citizens at the time steel pan. And he wanted to do a recording of the seniors. And because he know that I'm into that type of stuff, he tell me to come down there to see how they set up and stuff and to do the recording. But while we were there, the entourage from NCDF come in, and so I said, Junior, you know what I mean? Introduced me to your people them. And so he took me up, and the person who headed the department at the time, he went and introduced me. He said, boss lady, I want to introduce you to my cousin. He just came back from America. And she looked up and she see me and she said, boy, you don't remember me? But I was shocked because I didn't remember her.
Yes.
And she went now to explain the whole thing, the meeting at the restaurant and everything. And I'm left there stand up shocked because I mean I know nobody in Nevis will know something like that.
Yes.
You know, and she said, boy, you don't know me? She said, I'm Tanya Powell, your cousin. And right now, we are in need of a drumming teacher, drumming instructor in the NCDF because we have none.
Yes.
He said, well, he said, all right then, you just sign me up.
Okay.
And she introduced me to Mr. Byron, Suti Byron, and we had my meeting, and and it's 10 years later today.
Yes. Well, congratulations and kudos to Tanya Powell for always recognizing talent and doing her part in order to push Nevisions forward. I know she has been, she's very passionate about Nevis and helping Nevisions. So kudos, Tanya.
Right.
Well done.
and the sticker, I think, saved his life.
Yes.
You
see, that's what you're always supposed to represent.
And no matter where you go,
indeed.
you represent. Because I think that we have such a distinct flag that no matter where you go, you could spot it from a mile away. Because just the other day, I was on Instagram, and my sister was on Instagram, and there was this comedian guy. He was doing something, and he flashed his ring, and right there we spot the St. Kitts Nevis flag, and we asked about it, and he's saying no, he don't know about, but we like obviously the ring. That shows. So I think the flag spoke for you at that day, and here you are 10 years later.
Okay. So I see that you did some studies at the Jazz Mobile Music School in there in New York. And so, can you tell us a bit about your training in New York as well as your career? You had a very long-standing career in America before you came over to Nevis.
Yes.
Can you just tell us a bit about that?
Jazzmobile was an inspiration that came from my brother Carlisle Paris, aka Ras Ujima. They had a theater company called the New Thought Theater, and they did a lot of poetry and stuff like that. And one day I went to visit him, and they were practicing. And they listened to poetry and thing, and I said, yo, you know me could play drums to them poetry there? The man said, what? Say, you could play drum? I said, yeah, man. He said, man, all right. And he left. Came back with a drum. He said, Lord, look, the man I got put me on the spot, you know. But then he played and he saw the potential, and then he said, yo, there's a music program that go on up in Harlem every winter. I'm going to sign you up. And that he did, and went to school for 4 years there, studying, well, really and truly, tell you the truth, I went to play bass, because the school does everything.
Yes.
All instruments, theory, everything going on in the school. You could learn in that school. So I went to do bass first, but my capabilities as a bass player was so low and so much on a beginner's level that the teacher tell me, say, boy, everybody else step on a high level, you can just keep them back. So I went and I registered in the percussion class.
Yes.
So I did like 2.5 years percussion training, and then one day I was walking through the halls of the school and run into the stick drum class. And stand up by the door looking through the window, and the teacher spot me. Teacher do me so, yo, come inside. I'm go in, and you know, at the end of the class, he said, look, you from the Caribbean? I said, yes. He said, look, I need somebody from the Caribbean in my class. I said, I'm telling you, I'm already in the percussion class. He said, look, I'm going to talk to your teacher. He said, you have a bass drum, a snare, and a hi-hat? I said, yes. He said, walk with that next week, come. From that, got into the stick drumming.
Okay.
And training that for a while, for another 2 years. Then after that, graduating from that school, went into the field, started to play with different bands and different artists and stuff like that for many years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I see here that you also played with Bob Marley's mother for 8 years. So what was it like being introduced to the Marley family and then actually becoming a part of that clan? Wow.
Yes.
That was a beautiful experience, especially Miss Booker. Sitting and talking with her. Those talks that we had shaped me on a level. At that time, she never knew my background. She never knew that I come from a background where my parents are politicians and stuff like that. She never knew nothing like that. So one day, there was a little argument happen, and Miss Booker's son called me aside and had to say what he had to say. But he didn't know that his mom was listening.
Yes.
So after he left, now she called me and she said, son, people jealous of you, you know. So imagine if you really had something, they'd don't kill you.
Wow.
So look, you see the path you're on? Never get off that path. So you are blessed. And she always invite me to Jamaica. Always invite me, come to Jamaica, come to Jamaica. Come see my son. She always just say, come see my son, which is Bob. Come see my son and you get your blessing and where and all this kind of thing. But me never end up go, and then she passed away.
Yes.
She passed away. Which is something I feel like I still have to honor. But with the COVID and all them kind of thing I go on, you know what I mean?
You're staying put, like most of us.
Yes.
Yes, but that experience shaped me and shaped my musical experience a lot. a lot. And I really give thanks for that family and for that experience. Yeah.
Okay. I know you because performance-wise and as a teacher, I would interact with you and so forth. And normally when he comes to teach drumming, these children have to go through a strict, like call it a strict regime where they get that talking and that those reasoning and those kind of stuff before they start to engage with the drum and so forth. So, but my question to you is like, what helped to ground you outside of your music? What grounds you or keeps you grounded in terms of ensuring that certain things are practiced and certain morals and values and traditions continue for our future generation?
What ground me is Rastafari. Plain and simple.
Yes, I.
Plain and simple. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, my spiritual beliefs, that's what ground me. Yeah. And has grown me for many years. And has taken me through many tough times and bring me through many tough times. And here I am today. Most people, when me tell them, say, look, well, boy, me know Sidela Mali Booker, them watch me like me crazy. When me tell them, say, look, me know Steve Marley, they even watch me like me more crazy. And now me start to tell them, well, look, I work with Lauren Hill for four months.
Wow.
Then watch me like, boy, you're a madman. And this is the experience me get since me come back here to Nevis.
Yes.
And so it kind of forced me not to even talk to people too much.
Okay.
Because, they watch you like something wrong with you. Oh, you're a little smart island man, be amongst them kind of people there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But give thanks to my brethren Watusi. Yeah, Watusi is the one who first invited me to Miami.
Yes.
And set
and
up
he
that whole...
used to do some good music too.
Oh, yeah. Watusi spend and invest a lot in his music. And respect him for that.
Yes.
Yeah, respect him highly for that.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that your parents were politicians. Can you just tell us a bit about that? Like who your parents were?
My father was Frederick Anderson Paris.
Okay, yes.
A.K.A. Fred Paris.
Yeah.
My mom, Pansy Paris. My uncle, Calvin Cabu Howell. Another uncle, Alfred Howell, famous cricketer. My grandfather, John Edward Howell, who built the pavilion in the park.
Yes.
Donated the pavilion in the park and was a very strong builder here in Nevis back in the day. Okay. So I come from that type of background.
Yes. So I know make the connection and I know that you are brother to Colin Paris.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So one thing I find out, Bynghi, because I have observed like Baba Tunji, and I'm sure you would have worked with him.
Yes.
He's my great uncle.
Oh. Okay.
And so he would have done some training in New York, and from my understanding, he was one of the best pan players that we have here in Nevis and perhaps in the Caribbean.
Right.
But I do find that unless people like don't know you and people like Baba Tunji personally, we don't get to know your story or experience, even have knowledge of you guys training, your talents. We see you, we see your work, and we know that you must be extremely talented. But in terms of having the background, that's not highlighted in anywhere. And I think we need to do more to highlight our local talents.
Sometimes, especially, let us speak from the Rasta's perspective. I think it's kind of a cultural kind of thing too, where the Rasta man don't really like to be monks, what them call Babylon, and news media and the whole
Yeah, the whole hype. Yeah.
hype
Yeah.
around
Yes,
news media
yes.
and stuff like that. So
Okay.
all of that play a part.
Yes.
Play a part in it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, too, I think when you get a chance to travel and go in different environments, and not just travel and visit, but live in those environments, you get a different perspective.
Yes.
And I think that's why I'm the type of person I am today.
So I know greatness comes in all different forms, and it could be as small as just jumping over a stick to as big as, you know, achieving a Nobel Prize or whatever. But do you think that your spirituality, your belief, your faith, your Rastafarianism has hindered you in any way, shape, or form from being somebody great? Because as you just said, like, you don't believe in the hype, you know, of everything. And so do you think that ever hindered you in terms of like pushing for greatness, as in, because you have met so much people who would have been able to pin you on a map, but you know?
I think it's opposite.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's opposite. Through my faith is what lead me to these different people.
Yes.
Okay.
And through my faith, why I gain the knowledge that I gain. And through my faith is why now I could now depart that information back to whoever willing to learn.
Okay.
I'll sit down and listen. See, and it's just that. I mean, I have nothing else. I mean, I have nothing no supernatural, nothing to talk about.
Yes.
It's just my faith. And we got through with that, you know what I mean? And that's it.
Well, so the as an Afro dancer, we dance to the African drum, and we are taught to respect this instrument. This is one of the most highly respected instrument. This is not an instrument where you could just pass and just bap and trodong and these kind of thing. It's a very highly respected instrument. How do you see that the African drum in connection with the Rastafarian faith or the Rastafarian belief?
The drum, yes, is very much connected to the Rastafari faith, but it's also connected to every black man on the face of the earth. The drum is the first instrument. The drum is the first instrument used for communication also. The drum is used in the healing process and in many, many ceremonies and festivals and stuff since the beginning of time. Seeing the drum bring us through slavery. Because of the drum, we were able to maintain that connection to the motherland.
Yep.
Seeing, and that connection is what gave us that inner strength, not so much a physical strength, but that inner strength for us to survive this horrific thing called slavery. Seeing, and the drum helped. And the drum was so powerful, you know, that even like in places like America, them find with a drum, them cut off your hand, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Expound on that a bit. I want to know why.
Because the slave drivers them realized the power that the rhythms and the drum carry.
Yes.
And them no want that to happen because that is a unifying force. So once the so-called slaves them get unified, slave master in trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Seeing, so they discourage the use of the drum. Very much so. And that's why in America, the kettle drum, what they call the kettle drum with the rattle on the bottom,
Yes.
that's why that drum got invented. Because they couldn't use the traditional hand drum that came from Africa.
Oh.
No.
So the African Americans in America, they created
the kettle drum.
the kettle drum and with the cymbals and stuff like that, you find in New Orleans and stuff like that.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
So then, how important it is, because we know that it says that you're basically the only drumming instructor at NCDF. How important it is now for our government to now invest in someone to take up the role from you, because in all fairness, you're getting at a point where you might just soon have to retire or whatever. So how important is it for them to now invest in someone who can actually give the teachings and the correct rhythms and those kind of stuff at this point?
I think it's crucially important for the continuation of these arts, not just the drumming, the masquerade and clowns and all the other art forms. It's crucially important. I think more so in the future coming, because this pandemic ain't gonna last forever. And when the place open back up, we have to have a product
yes.
that we could present in the marketplace that could compete.
I agree.
See, and if you do not shape it and spend a little money and to get the necessary things to put, I mean, you can't go market with a sucky mango, I mean, you don't want to talk like that, but still, to say it, you know what I mean? You have to go to market and your mango, they must shine.
Yeah.
I agree.
That is true.
See, and I see that from 3 years ago when we traveled to Leeds in England.
Yes.
And the response that we got from the people in Leeds in England, it definitely convinced me that Nevis has a very, very high product.
Yes.
Just need molding and putting out there. Yeah.
I agree, because like when I started in my early years of dancing with Rhythms Dance Theatre, there was the Africana drummers with Suti and so forth, and I as a young boy, I loved it. I knew I wouldn't have played the drum, but I knew I could have danced to it, and I looked forward to see the Africana drummers growing, and even younger boys, grooming into it. But I personally just feel like it is gone. The children do it for cultural arts because it is there. They are boys who they are interested, but the avenues aren't available for them to partake in these kind of things. And I think at the NCDF level, yes, you all are doing what you can do, but I just feel like more can be done, because these art forms are very important, and I believe that the drumming, the African drum, is the leading art form, and then everybody, because you could play clowns from the drum. You could play masquerade from the drum. You have beautiful presentations from the drum. Just sitting and listening to it, is something that could be admired here in Nevis. And I think Nevis has the potential, the talent to produce excellent drummers. We just need the opportunity, as you say.
See, I find these art forms should be in the schools. Not on the NCDF level is a good level, but it need to be curriculum.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
Being graded, being a part of the curriculum and being graded. That's one. And two, to more sensitize people to the potential of the art forms. Because I don't think people realize what this art form can really do and how far it can really go.
Yeah.
And a lot of it come from, like, people not having the opportunity to travel outside and seeing what the art form can do.
Can do,
yes.
See, I mean, I was fortunate to be able to see that. To be there and see it, I mean, going on Labor Day in Brooklyn and where and all them kind of things. And seeing, I mean, and seeing all those things. So I was able to see what the art form can do. And then getting the opportunity to go to Leeds, that even more opened up my eyes to know, say, boy, I need this. And then by me being in the schools, because for 8 years, 16 schools I'm on teaching us.
Wow.
Primary, preschool, primary and high school.
Yes.
So I had a kind of good view on the kids them and the talent within the school system for a while. I'm going to tell you, Neve is full of talent.
Yeah.
Neve is full of talent. I have one school in particular that I always talk about, Mart Cross. For 4 years in a row, sis, all of the valedictorians of Mart Cross were my lead drummers.
Wow.
Nice. And you see that is the thing. Like, I think I am more passionate for it because that is something that's me. That is just a part of who I am, as a dancer. And I look at it from a dancer's perspective because then without the music, how am I going to move to it? And so it is for, I think that, as you rightfully say, that the opportunities out there to see how far drumming can take me, it's not there. And, it's just like football, football, I see people travel so much time for football. I just say, Lord God, I should have to really pay attention. I could hit the ball 1-1-2-2, but the opportunities that presents themselves in these other art forms is greater. And then I also feel like certain art forms are being prioritized than some. You understand? I'm sure probably you went to Leeds. How many drummers from Nevis could have gone to Leeds to put on a drumology? How many dancers could have aided in terms of helping him to push that African drum? And this is the thing. And then another thing I find in Nevis is that opportunities come to those who you know.
Yes.
She knows me, she goes. But is she really qualified to go? No. Understand? So these are things that we get so caught up into. So opportunities miss. And these people, they are young talents out there, but they are not people are giving the opportunities to these young people.
Also, that's very true what you say. But also, we need more vision. When I say vision, I mean visual. Like if you drive to town, you might see barely see a little mural of one of our legends around the place. Now, when you go to different areas, you go to Jamaica, and the first thing you drive in, you see a big picture of Bob Marley, and you get a big spliff in his mouth and all this kind of thing.
Yes.
Because they promote them culture.
Yes, that's true.
On all levels.
That is so true.
And Nevis need to do that. Nevis need to promote, find out who their legends be, who their legendary people be, and promote these people to the wider world.
Yes. I agree.
Not just here, not just for culture rama, but all year round. When you see how the Jamaican them do it, and you see how much money they make.
That's true.
And so much things they accomplish because they push their product on all levels. You know what I mean? Look, when I remember when Maxi Priest was here the other day. Remember when Maxi Priest was here?
Yes.
One thing I hear Maxi Priest say, this is how he was there, whatever it was, legend or whatever it there. The man said, if this was Jamaica in your car cup, no questions asked. And everybody down in the flag and where and things like that. That's the difference with here. That's what I find with here. People ain't too much patriotic.
Culturally inclined.
And patriotic too. On a level.
That's
true. Take it.
The Jamaicans really take it to that level.
Yeah.
You would know a Jamaican because they're proud to wear their flag. You would see it. You definitely know.
Divisions need that.
You only have to go on stage for Jamaica and put on that black, yellow, and green, you know.
Yes.
And then I know you, but then I'm like Jamaica,
See,
you know. So
those things are missing here. A lot.
Yeah.
Since I come here to Nevis, I learned that what's his name? Freeman, Mr. Freeman, up in Rollins. He has a thing. He's a granddaughter who danced for Beyonce.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
And these are things that
Oh, really?
Yeah.
First time I'm
need to
hearing
be in the
I don't know if it's
schools.
Freeman. Well, I don't know this, but I know that I think there's some Nivision
Yeah.
infused person that dances with
Oh,
her.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think
we should be promoting that because that should be a product. Yeah,
see.
I see
These
that.
little young girls, I mean, the school now could have
Yes.
something to aspire to.
To aspire to and look up to.
Look up to know, say, yeah, when the vision could go up on that level there, well, me could go up on the level there too.
That's sure.
And
And even
see?
yourself just working, like I'm still here in shock that you work with the likes of Lauren Hill, like Bob Marley,
Marley,
Steve.
yeah.
Wow. That's just impressive to me.
You could imagine how I was this afternoon when I was collecting the information, because I know Bynghi for years, you know. So every time he says something, I say, boy, will you tell me?
And then when you get so in touch with your culture, it also leads to like those unconventional career choices. You know, I want to be a dancer. I want to be a singer from St. Kitts and Nevis, and
Yeah.
it pushes you because then
Yeah,
you know
man.
somebody else has done it, and so I want to be like that.
Like that
versus
person,
you know
yes.
versus
Yeah.
that thing.
think that's
The
really good.
traditional, you know, doctor,
Yeah.
teacher, lawyer, you know, I always believe in the next 10 years, Nevis would have 50 lawyer offices because everybody has become a lawyer. I'm just saying, you know. So you move to, because
Right.
I don't know. I don't think. Well, I know St. Kitts does it where they have the performing arts as a subject
Yes.
in their
See.
curriculum.
In their curriculum.
But we
See.
don't, right? And so what is the hold up?
You see, and I have been advocating for this for many years. I went into the house yesterday and I heard the premier said, you know, that he need ideas, and you keep giving them ideas and the same set of ideas. And I'm just wondering if you know, if they care enough, if they're listening one, and if they care enough, because I don't understand how you could be leading and you don't have ideas. Your ideas bank empty. And to me, that is just crazy. And I don't think he really understood what he was saying. But to me, as a young person, I was just sitting there like, really so many things we can do differently in Nevis in terms of promoting Nevis and building that product. And it doesn't need take anything big. You don't need any big investor to come. You can start here locally, start small. And here it is. We have the leader of the country saying, oh, he don't have any ideas. The opposition not giving the government any ideas. And I was thinking, wow. You know, just the thought of it, I was just there like, this is interesting. I don't even understand if people understand the gravity
Right.
of what the man just said. And I was just like, whoa, but we have little things that we could do. Like I was talking, I always advocate people like Baba Tunji, like yourself. These are our local products. Put them, give you guys the avenue and market that. I can attest to your genius because, like I said, he would have taught my son drumming. And I have a story to share with everybody. When I was pregnant with Nigel, a.k.a. Mookie, I read a lot of ancient African and Egypt history. So I'm always reading everything. I'm quite intrigued by that. And I was doing some research, and you know, I learned about the drums and the language of the drums, and how for us black people with our melanin, it actually speaks to us and gives us the rhythm. The melanin gives us our rhythm, and we can communicate by the way of the drum. And so I didn't have a drum at the time, so I had my husband create this shak from coconut, putting some seeds in the coconut, and I would always rattle that by my stomach. And my son came, and he absolutely loved music. He loved the drums. Actually, I sent this child to steel pan class in Jessup's. And here am I thinking that the child is going to play steel pad. And then one day he said, no, mommy, I play the drums. I play the drums with teacher from preschool. I'm like, okay, really? But he is just a natural at playing the drums, even from a very early age of 3. You give him any rhythm, he could go and give you a beat. And I said, wow. You know, so I can attest to, you know, his genius in terms of giving my son that training, because that is something that would stick with him forever and ever and ever. And he's very passionate about it.
True.
Yeah.
But then we have to understand that living in a technological world, he can be, by the time he reach what, maybe let me say first farm, boom. The interest no longer is there, because nobody is there to groom the talent. That I remember, you know who I was always impressed with? There were 2 young men, and I think they would have drummed with you. Mr. Barrett's son, Kevin Barrett's son.
Yes,
right. Him and the Thing's son, Sherry's from Jessup's son.
Yes.
I listened to those 2 young men at one time played a piece, a drumming piece, and I think I was about to dance or something, and I was like, okay, there's hope, there's hope, something is gonna happen, but I guess I don't know. I'm not saying that they're no longer interested, but I'm not seeing it where they're taking. I think Barrett's son, he plays the stick drum.
He's pretty good at it.
Yeah, but not saying that they can't play the African drum, but the interest may not be, or the avenue is
because
not there
the opportunity, the opportunity. If you don't mold it, if you don't create the platform, the avenue for them to continue along that
it's
path,
gonna die. It's like you put a plant out there and you're just not watering it. It's what's gonna happen.
The continuity of the program is very lacking, and it's been like that since Iman been here, and it's been one of my complaints all of these years. The continuity of the program beyond, say, primary school. Because Iman done groom a lot of good drummers, sis.
Yes.
I tell you.
Yep.
But as soon as they go high school, you're like, me don't know what happened.
I tell you what happened. The interest not there, because in high school there's more things to do, and instead of continuing what I did in primary school, given who knows? I think one of these young men should have been at NCDF.
Yeah.
Assisting him.
Yeah, I think so. I think in high school, and from my experience both as a student and as a teacher, the curriculum is too academically inclined. It's too academic. Everybody pushing to get 16 and 20 subjects. How many of that you're going to use in
your life?
Right?
Thank you.
But that's why I talk about
pushing the performing arts.
That's why I talk about Maud Cross and those kids that were valedictorians, because you see, people traditionally look down on drummers and musicians and say, they're this, and they're the only reason why they do music because they can't read and they dance and stuff like that.
I agree.
But to see these kids them be lead drummers.
Yes.
And also lead academics.
Yes.
That is true.
Yeah, is amazing to me. I love it. I encourage it. But my thing now is to see it go beyond primary school, go back into the high school. I used to go to second form in high school. Go to second form in high school. And then even at that time, after second form, they stop it. And even then, still no continuity, because after that, imagine you have a child from preschool all the way up to primary school.
And then it just
stops. It's like all that hard work.
Yeah.
And that's what me can, that's what it is bother me sometimes.
Yes.
And
seeing that, seeing this talent just like disappear.
I wouldn't say disappear. It's there, but it's just being dormant.
It's
dormant. It's not active.
It's
not active.
That what does kind of make me feel a little weird.
And then you find that as you said, people look down on artistic people in the performing arts and so forth, and it brought back this when I was in high school and I was doing CXC. All my friends, I got 9 CXC, I asked for 7, they give me 9, but okay. And so all my friends, they would have, study, and Saturdays everybody going library and everybody going by somebody's house to do study. And on Saturdays I used to try to go up CSS to Rhythms Dance Theatre. And my friends used to say, oh, me don't know you could do it, you can fail and whatever. But from Monday to Friday, you would catch me. I would study, or I would do what I have to do with my books. But that was my calm. That would have been my time to come back down to earth. That would have been my time to just leave everything that I have in school and go out and just do me, do something I love and something that makes me who I am.
Yes.
And
bring back the balance.
Yeah, bring back the balance in my life. And then what happened is that I found that in the same rhythms, parents used to use the dance class as a punishment. For example, you ain't do your work, you ain't pass a test, you can't go to dance class for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks now, you're like, hey, what happened? Me not see you. My mother said me can't come. What me not pass? So then, I used to hear Miss Hobson encourage parents, do not use my dance class as a punishment. Yes. Understand? It is not something that you just give and take from children. Yes. Understand? So these are the parents too are to blame at some point for how they groom their artistic children. Let me call them artistic children. Because trust me, my mother never. If I tell you, she religiously put the $10 there a Saturday time till she going to walk, and me take up my $10 and me got tongue to Diane Hobson. But because today I could, people always ask, why not start a dance class? I just be like, listen, interest levels does go. I find with Nevis people, nothing does last because they'll lose interest quick. Yeah. And I just don't want to fall in that category. I could be wrong. Sorry.
Ross, what you think is the cause of that problem where our interest level, we don't have it. It's not constant. It'll just drop sometimes. So what do you think?
We don't have no visible superheroes to look up to.
Yes, yes.
You see, islands like Jamaica and them places, they have the Bob Marley and the Peter Tosh and the Marcus Garvey and the Paul Bogle and all these people that they could look up to and aspire to.
Yes.
We have that here in Nevis, but it's not visible.
It's not visible. Yeah, it's not promoted. It's not highlighted. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So.
And I find that helps a lot too. Helps a lot.
Miss Stapleton, what I find though is what makes us dwindle a lot in terms of our interest is also the passion from the teacher. You understand? You have to be into it. You as the teacher, you as the instructor. You have to, because I often tell people as a teacher, my children feed off of me. They would know, teacher,
true.
You're vexed today. You're vexed. Something happened. Our teacher, they get into what's happening. Yeah. So if you're not passionate and if you're not driving the art form, then who is going to do it?
Yeah.
Who is going to do it? And then somebody is be like, oh, well, they start a drumming class, and Bynghi bingo, yeah, right. Yeah. No recognition for nothing.
Yes.
So it just goes like, okay.
Good point. I can see that. I see that.
And I'm glad you said that too. I'm glad you said that because my son loved going to his class. Like he's a god. Okay. And I remember I sent him one time to steel pan with another instructor. And the instructor said to me, "Oh, when he comes to the class, he's not interested in the steel pan. He wants to play the drums, the stick drums." So I said, "Okay." And then I had a conversation with him. I said, "You don't like the steel pan?" He said, "No, mommy, I prefer the drums. I want to learn the drums." I said, "Okay, I'm gonna find you an avenue to learn the drums." But I was a bit upset, and I must admit, because here am I, spending this money, sending my child to steel pan, and the steel pan instructor telling me, "Oh, we can't control him. He's not showing no interest." So I was like, well, I send him to you for? You
Right,
know.
right,
And then
right.
I could remember my time with Junior Paris as my instructor. And whether you were interested or not, once you enter Mr. Paris' class, you better find the interest.
Yes, yes, yeah.
You know,
Yes.
he is strictly professional.
Yeah.
He's very passionate about his talent
yeah.
and his craft.
True,
and whether
true,
you
true.
want to be there or not, the fact that you're in that room, you better take it seriously.
Yeah, man, his
Yeah.
personality.
Yes.
His personality,
yeah.
like, it just take you over, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, man, Junior is a great brethren, you know?
Yes.
A great brethren. I work with him over the years, because we work at NCDF together and play with him over the years from time to time. And Junior is a genius, man.
Yes.
Yeah, Junior is a genius. Take it from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love passion. Like I love people. Like you have people like yourself, Junior, Diane Hobson. These are people who they're passionate about what they
What
do.
they do, yes.
And so
yes.
it's no nonsense. Once
Yes.
you're going, they're going 150%
yep.
all the way, because they're very, very passionate about the craft, and they want the students not only to learn the talent, but really to understand and appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
man.
it's
Yeah,
also
man.
a counseling session from what
Yeah,
I have
man.
learned.
Yes,
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 I.
yes.
Because many of those same students that I tell you about from who became valedictorians and stuff, when you hear them give the speeches, a couple of times I cry. I tell you the truth. When we sit down and you know what I mean, 'cause they definitely say, look, Mr. Paris, if it wasn't for you
Yes.
and the discipline that I got from being in drum class, I wouldn't be here today. Straight up.
Because studies have shown that extracurricular activities balance academics. It
Yes.
does.
No, man, not only that, but the scientists them prove that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Scientifically.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The power of rhythm, the power of the
Music,
sound
yes.
and the vibration. You know what I mean? Those things heal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just for, I think, those here within the education department and whatever else to come to that understanding and realization and start to push that more.
Yes.
Because you see, as much as them attack, you know, tourists come here for the culture of the place.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
See, and if your cultural product is not up to par, the tourists them ain't gonna be up to par either.
That is so true. That
you
is
know what I
very
mean?
true.
And if the thing is up, regardless we be small, 36 square miles, we might have to go build on some stone out there in the water and build up and Navy to the amount of people that come here because of the product that we have.
Yes.
You see? The product is important, and the product comes from the people. You see? The people is the product.
That is so
Yeah,
true.
the people is the product. So
Yeah.
we have to develop the people.
So we have some comments here on the live chat, and so good evening to everyone. Good evening to our normal fans, people like Rhonda, Janice, Miss Daly, and we have good night, Devon. We have a comment here from Mr. Pastor Ron Daniel, and he said, Cleone, please tell Mr. Paris that my sons Rondre and Threon are watching him and are loving him. He is their teacher. So just wanted to make sure I get that in there. Okay, for my little friends, they are watching and they're loving it.
Yeah,
Just in time,
man,
just in
man.
time.
Salute, you know. One is my lead drummer, and the next one is the leader of the rhythm section, the middle section.
Wonderful,
So, yes,
wonderful.
yes.
Excellent.
Salute you all, you know. Yeah.
So yeah, and you know, I just want to take this opportunity to really,
And you know, sis, I don't want to cut you off, but you see those kids was off from the time of the pandemic when they had the lockdown
yes.
for a whole year. And the first time I go back to the school, I said to them, Fonga, they played it. Calypso, them played it. African 6/8, them played. Heartbeat, them played.
Wow.
Dance all them played, sis. And the man them not playing a drum in over a year.
Wow.
And they could just come and just run down the beats them just like that. Boop, 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 boop. I was like, wow. That's something you do right.
Yeah, you have to be doing something right.
Yeah.
You have to
You
be
have
doing
to-
Because
something
after a
right.
whole year of not participating in nothing, and they just come and they remember everything.
Yes.
And was be able to execute it one time. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Because
It's,
Now, I mean, me.
yeah, it's that's
Yeah.
really
what I must admit though, Cleone, is that with Bynghi and his teaching of the drum, it's not just pong calypso, pong dancer, pong heartbeat and so forth. You get a teaching.
yes.
Every session is a teaching. And when you do that, you leave impact and you leave a lasting impression on the lives of those people that you're coming. Because as you say, to your son, this man is a god.
Yep.
Understand? This man teach me drumming. This man shows me that, you know, I could do a lot of things, you know, even though they might not internalize certain things that he's saying now in their youth. They're going to remember it. They're going to be, I remember this man used to teach me and he used to take what, you know, and could carry it on and they could translate it throughout life, you know. So it is not just come, drum, and go home.
Yes.
It's a whole lesson.
Yeah, man,
everything.
a holistic approach.
He deals with it on a holistic approach.
Yeah.
Teach you the value of life. Why would you want to drum? Some children does. Can teacher send me?
True.
Yeah, they will tell you so.
True.
Teacher send me.
True.
Because all the boys them a drum.
Yes.
You understand? And then they go. I've seen children be like, teacher, me not go back, you know. The man out that talk hard to Abby. and me can't take you on. Go along they go sit down, take the hard talking to. You understand? And they know and the culture of his classroom is when you come, they sit and they wait for you. You don't dare move the drum. And you get a boy. And they know that. So they wait and pong toe. And you know, so it's discipline. Discipline. You know. Because I just see some of them come and training them all over. But still, discipline of your art form. And it is the same thing with junior.
Yes.
When you go steel pan class, them children just say, teacher, me got to learn this because junior said don't come back next week. You know? Discipline.
Yes.
Discipline, and it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Same thing with Duggins, and you know, it's
Yeah.
sad that we
Virgin,
don't,
man.
you know, we always, because you know he's gone, and I must say I miss him dearly, and I think you know the foundation, the schools, you know, they miss him too because. You don't get that, you know. Of course, there may be other persons who would carry on the art form and so, but with that kind of level of passion and dedication.
There's only one Duggan. No, just like there's only one Bob Marley.
Yes.
There's only one Duggan, and his style and his approach and everything, I him that.
Yes.
And that cannot be replaced. See, and really and truly, I think Nevis get a blow.
Yeah.
With him gone. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Ron says that a chain is as strong as its weakest link.
Indeed.
He said
agree.
this is not a toy, it's a musical instrument. Fun does bring fat. This is not agriculture class, this is a drum class, okay? So, you know, the children must get it straight. And we love that. We love that level of discipline, because I would see Nigel come and he has a drum at home that Duggan would have given to him, I think, from the time he was at V&J's. With your classes,
right?
And you know he would come and he have to sit down, and when I see this child have to settle to perfection, and sometimes I wonder why he do, because it seems to me like he meditating.
And you're like, when you're gonna start? Let me know when you're gonna start.
And he said no, that Mr. Paris say, and I'm like, okay. You know, do your thing. Do it exactly how Mr. Paris. And then he would say, no, mommy, Mr. Paris say you have to do this and you have to do it this way, and I said,
Fine. Yes.
Yes. So I just want to thank you for that, because I can see how, you know, he really understands it, and he takes it seriously, very, very serious.
Yeah, man, them are the things I love to hear.
Yes.
Because then it tells me that something I do is
something right.
Yeah, something right along the way. Might not do everything right, but there's something I go on there. And look, sis, me can't go nowhere in Nevis, you know.
I could imagine.
No, me can't go nowhere in Nevis. Everywhere me go, Mr. Paris, drumming teacher, where. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I said this to a very close friend of mine the other day too. I feel more appreciated working in Nevis than when I did in America.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just from the response of these children towards me and the appreciation and the love them show me.
Yes.
Yeah, on a daily basis. Yeah.
A couple times I would hear the principal be like, send them a drum in, let it take some discipline. Go drum in. And they would come and say, teacher Darlene, please change. Where you doing? Drum. No, sit down out there. Take the discipline. You know, because we seem as teachers, you know.
Yes.
Sometimes we say, you know, Lord, he very harsh, you know, but every man knows how to deal with his herd of sheep and that kind of thing. So I applaud. I really appreciate
and we do respect that. We respect that very much. Mr. Caesar Jatari sends good night to his bestest. So you probably have the same impact on those students that Mr. Paris have on the drummers.
Yes. Good night to Jatari, you know. Yeah.
So yeah, I can remember. I remember when I first went to Mr. Paris' class. And everybody know Junior. Junior is no nonsense. And I remember one time I was over there, right? And I think I got the codes down. And I think I got rid of him, you know. And Mr. Paris said, somebody is off. And I did like, no, play again. Somebody is off. And I played, and I think I got everything right.
Yeah.
Then I hear Junior say, Cleone, what are you over there?
No, but sis, this, hear what you just said. I don't know if you understand what you just said. That is the genius of the man.
Yes.
Imagine you have a whole steel
Orchestra,
pan in front of you playing, and you could pinpoint the one pan.
Yeah.
When I play right.
Yep.
The man is a genius, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
People of Nevis don't want to recognize them going to lose.
Yep.
But the man is a genius.
And I think they should be we have so much, so much talent. When you look at Junior, yourself, people like Duggins and Van Anslin, and you don't see, as you said, you don't see the product, you don't see the visual. We're not marketing that.
No.
You know?
No.
We run Ghana in the house, go pass a legislation for some film, some people shooting some film. We don't promote our own, and then we sit down and say, oh, where's the idea? But that's the idea there. That is how you're going to develop the product that is going to promote tourism. Sometimes I wonder if we even have a tourism department. Because I don't hear anything. They're not promoting anything. I can remember back in the day when what's her name, Helen Kidd, Miss Kidd was there, and she brought that whole concept of Nevis naturally, and we were doing things, and everybody was like, yes, Nevis naturally, and doing this. Now I don't even know what is the catchphrase or what's going on. What is the product? What is the visual?
Nevis naturally still.
It's still naturally, but we need something. We need to promote, like for me, but for my interaction with you, like I know you're my son's teacher, but just listening to your story this evening, that's an eye-opener for me. I'm like, wow, this is the product, this is the visual. So I have an idea, even though the premier don't have one. But yes, so these are things that we have to promote. We have to get, and a lot of times the young people, it's not that they're not interested, they don't know the story, they don't know the history, because nobody really taking the time, as you said, to create that visual so that it could inspire them to want to be that way. I had no idea, so I'm happy for Legendary. I'm happy that you accepted our invitation, and this must have been God and destiny, because now I know it's like a even greater profound respect.
Yes,
See,
I
Yes.
agree.
Thanks,
So-
I
give
agree.
thanks, give thanks.
Wow.
You know, you
Give
see the simple man, and you don't know his story.
That is so true.
So-
You don't know he was on the same stage with Lauren Hill, working with Lauren Hill.
all
Wow.
I know, this man just come to pong drum at the school. That is all I know. That's
Wow.
all I know.
And
If you
Bob
had,
Marley's mother, wow.
Yeah,
That's
because-
just amazing.
because these are the things, as he says, visuals. Because
Yes.
had somebody met me on the road and say, I'm looking for the gentleman who sat with, you would have been the last person I would have literally thought of. I'm looking for the gentleman who played with Lauren Hill. Who? No, we are.
But you
I
know,
don't-
we
You know, that-
did
that's the
this.
thing.
We did a thing with what's her name? Josh Stone when she was here.
Oh, yes, for the jazz.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh.
we played with Josh Stone. We did a music video with her. And
Okay.
played, yeah.
Yes.
And it's on YouTube and everything.
Mm.
Yeah, so all of those is good. Look, I was at one of these schools had a, I think, Christmas program or Black History Month program. And a white lady walked up to me. I don't know this white woman. Say, sir, so you play with Josh Stone? I'm like, watching. She said, yes, I saw you on TV. You playing with Josh Stone. I mean, you're great. I'm like, wow, how this woman, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
But it's, again, you know what I mean, is to show you that talent is here.
Yes, it's here.
It
The
is.
talent is here.
It
The
is.
talent is here.
We have
Present,
the raw
please.
material.
Yeah, the
Present,
raw
please.
material
We
there.
have the
So,
raw material.
Present, please.
raw material there. So
Yes.
it's just to get it.
It's just a manufacturer.
yeah,
Yeah,
manufacture
and
it.
promote
You know.
it and package it and put it out there.
Yeah,
You know, put
yeah.
it out there.
man.
No man, the market right now is kind of rough, you know, with the
COVID and
COVID
everything.
and
As you say,
everything,
it's not
yeah.
going to be here forever. So
yeah. But in the meantime, we could go on build up yourself. I think.
yes,
Until we could get to travel out and do it again. You know what I mean? I mean, enough musicians. I have many musician friends. And them a bar right now. Yeah, them a bar all over the world and them
Yes.
a bar right now.
yeah,
You know what I mean? For me, I think me a little fortunate because even throughout the lockdown, me get one to little church gigs and go to the church and play and
yes,
and you know what I mean, and way, and so that in itself keep me going.
yes,
At least me not just home now play and just home. At least I get an opportunity to come out and still perform and play
yes,
through the whole crisis. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm blessed. I think I give thanks for that. You know what I mean?
yep,
Because even my brother Eugene, you know what I mean? Them man hardly doing anything, and them up in a big America.
yeah,
And we down here in Little Nevis, and yeah, even the other day he called me, said, man, he just wanted to hear my voice. You know why? Because yeah, about 15 degrees below zero outside.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
he
probably
said-
freezing.
Yeah, so he said, Jed, me just want to get some heat out your voice.
all right,
Yeah, so you know what I mean?
yep,
It's
But-
great to be here. It's great to come back home and to contribute back to the island. And yeah, it's a great feeling. Yeah, it's a great feeling, man.
As you said, like ideas, Cleone, you know, one of the things, because, you know, being around creatives and so forth, you know, being in pageantry and everything, you know, we often look as a young people coming up, we often look towards how can we benefit from this art form or from what we are interested in. And one of the things I think St. Kitts and Nevis really need to invest in is a national performing arts. And when I say a national group, this group represents St. Kitts and Nevis no matter where we go. Per case in point, I remember going to were Carrie Festa that went in Trinidad and Tobago, and you could have seen the hustle to pick this and who could we send, and we can send this and we can send that, and and often a lot of people, surprisingly, a lot of people kept asking, "You in Trinidad?" No. But how come then I work with you? Because people, your own knows your talent, and then those in authority, do they know of you and do they respect your talent? And I believe that on a national level, then I could have been a part of the national dance group that would have traveled to Trinidad to represent St. Kitts and Nevis. Then we have the National Drum Corps. We have, these kind of things, so that we don't have to struggle and look for this person, because at one point I literally had to audition. Let me say that I had to audition to go to Trinidad to perform, to represent St. Kitts and Nevis at Carrie Festa. I had to do a performance at Carnival Village, at 2 dances and so forth, and the winner would have been our prize. You understand? And so many talented dancers, but yet just a group of persons who would have just maybe come together would have been able won over. We instead of choosing this and that person and really coming together, together, and we are able to create a whole product, that would market St. Kitts and Nevis. And because I often say, I was waiting for, I think it was this year, 2021, this year, next year, they were going to Antigua. Man, I've been a weird boy. I've been a weird.
You were waiting for that one,
Shonroy? I've been a really weird.
Oh my
God. I would have been there on the plane or something.
That would have been a great opportunity for us. Because you see, Carrie Festa is not just the dancing, but the knowledge that you can gain.
The knowledge and the experience,
from those kind of events, you see. And them the thing we need around here a lot more.
Yes.
For example, when Third World was here, that was one of the things that we got them to do, was to come down to NEPAC and did a presentation to the general public. I mean, a lot of people not come, but it was available.
Yes.
Seeing, and to me, I learned so much just from being there. And hearing what the man them and the experience what the man them have. And then the night of the show, the man them called me on the stage and me actually went and play with them.
Wow.
Yeah. You could go up on YouTube and see it for the when they had the independence thing.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you played with
so
them.
that again, kids them out are watching, is another thing they could understand, that these are the things that you could experience too.
Yes. That is true.
And these are the things to aspire to.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We have a comment on the live chat from your cousin Tessa. And Tessa says, passion has to start in the home. The family should be the one promoting the child, and it would follow up to adulthood. No one can market you with the passion you would do for yourself. Parents must encourage your children. It starts there. And this is so true. I can attest to this. And it's important for parents. If you realize that your child have a particular interest, you have to be responsible and play a significant role in nurturing that interest.
Yeah, man.
Because I picked up that my son loved the drum from maybe when he was like 3 years old. And I knew he always loved music, because as a baby, he just like playing with things and beating things. He always, so I knew that. And that is why I went and asked his uncle, did you have any drum? Because I approached him and I said, where can I buy this drum? Because this child looked like he wants to do this drum. And he said, no, I have one. And today, he still plays that drum. He would go, he and his little brother, and they love music. They love to drum. And so as parents, you have to be alert. And once you see your child have this particular interest, you ensure that you do what you have to do to make sure that interest is maintained, to give them that type of exposure and support.
Yeah, that foundation work is important.
Yes.
Just like you building a building, the foundation have to be strong.
Yes.
If the foundation is not strong, the child one falter
And-
somewhere along the way.
And it goes
Um,
without saying. Sorry, go ahead, finish.
No, you're right.
It goes without saying because growing up, I did we had the same cultural arts and I did dance and my mother I usually tell people, listen, if it was to go on the mountain to dance, Cleone, my mother would send me and she would say, do your best, I can't come, or or if she could come, then she would go.
Yes.
And for everything, my mother, I remember I told my mother that time there was this group, I don't remember, Makishma and
We have
yeah.
a caller. Good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to the entire panel.
Blessed.
Bynghi,
Blessed.
good to hear you and you. Very, very interesting.
Thank you.
thing.
Yeah.
I have lived and I have watched music
Seem to be
Career.
cutting a bit.
and one of the things that I've noticed, he had that passion for himself. All I did was encourage him, especially once I understood what is it that he was trying to achieve. And we as parents, we have to get behind our children. I think in Nevis, quite frankly, part of it is a cultural thing. It's a situation where sometimes we don't think that's good enough, or that passion that child have will take them to where we want to go because it's a doctor, lawyer, or whatever. And so we don't push our children. And we just have to have faith in the children. Recognize. I mean, just imagine how much it means to you when your parents or the people that are closest to you believe in you, believe that whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, you will achieve. And in my family personally, we have a thing with music, which mostly came from my mother's side of the family. My mother was an organist, and my mother would encourage the children, the grandchildren, whenever they came around, to sit next to her, and she would play the organ and all of that. And I was so taken back. Just recently, I have a nephew, and I knew that he was very much interested in the cultural art of masquerade, and he's been blowing the fife and all of that. I walked into that as opposed to him being a cricketer, which is something completely different. But I went to a church a couple of Sundays ago, and I was quite surprised. I walked in and I saw this person playing the organ in the church. And I kept looking over because I didn't expect to see him at that church either. And it was my nephew, and I was like, wow. I was really taken back, and I thought to myself, if my mom was here, oh my goodness, her heart would be so full, because this is what she would have wanted for her grandson. And these are the things that we have to work with our children on encouraging them. Nobody's going to market you but you. Nobody's going to market with the passion for you like you will. Parents have to really get that into their children's head. And when you have that passion for yourself, nobody can block a door for you, because if this door gets blocked, you'll walk around the corner and find another door to come through, because you're that much passionate about it. And that is what we have to teach our children and encourage them in their growth and development. For whatever the choice they make, is to have the passion to go through it, get through it, and push themselves. Great show, guys.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Tessa.
Tessa, me never know the Virgin play organ, man.
Impressive.
Yeah. Nice, man, nice. This Howell family seems to have some good talent, I must say.
Indeed.
Yes.
So Bynghi, so we coming up. We have just about 28 minutes left, but so we have talking about your career and music, but this time I want to talk a bit more about your religion, and I feel like the elephant in the room because I see I see a lot of dreads around me.
But the question is, how do we view our mine is a fashion dread. I'm gonna say I'm a fashion dread. I don't know what we're not doing.
I think halfway in between you and him. Halfway.
But we have some fake dreads in the house.
Because on the view was saying, well, boy, it can't be he under the meditation and he got a little weight like that, So.
No, I must say I don't follow the faith. I do it for the fashion, unfortunately.
So tell us a bit, about. I am very much intrigued about the Rastafarian religion. I must say, I come from a family of Rastas, so I had two uncles. My uncle Tunji, Loxton Tunji Moore in England, and he's a Rasta. He quite instrumental in teaching me a lot of things about Rasta and just my African history. So, and also I would have told you about my great uncle Baba Tunji Gasnell Moore there in Barnscott, and my uncle Stedman, who would have passed away some years ago. And so I grew up knowing about Rastas and the religion and the tradition and the lifestyle and things like that. And for me, I am really intrigued by it. And so I just want you to share a bit more about the religion itself and, how has it been able to shape you and mold you as an individual person?
And also, what enlightened you to go that direction?
What enlightened me to go in that direction? I think it was just an inborn thing. It's not something that I choose to do. It's just something that just happened naturally for me. Coming out of the family that I came out of, being around my uncle Calvin, Cabu Howell.
Yes.
And that whole concept of cultural ram and the cultural concept helped to shape me a lot. And then getting a little bit older, starting to hear music from Bob Marley and stuff like that inspired me to start to read.
Yes.
But really and truly, that never inspired me to read. And my father inspired me to read because he was a reader. Yeah, my dad was a reader. So seeing him from a little boy coming up, reading either newspaper, some book, or whatever, that kind of it was inside of me, and it just creep out.
Yes.
Put it like that, And so in that now, the inspiration from listening to these reggae musicians and getting curious for myself, and then start to dig in for myself and researching for myself, and it just grow. It just grow. It ain't like some people say, "Oh, them turn Rasta," but not me. You know what I mean? It was just a natural progression for me.
Yes.
From coming from my family coming up. Although they wasn't Rasta, but because of my uncle and his cultural affiliations, it led me in that direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of the whole the religious aspect of it, how has that influence? How has it really shaped your life? I know you're very serious, very disciplined person, committed person. You think that your religion played a big part in that?
Religion, no. But way of life, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't really deal with religion. Tell you the truth, We just deal with way of life. This is the way how we live.
Okay.
This is our life. And we just live our life natural, within the natural realms of things, according to the Bible. And other works too, besides the Bible too. Because I mean, not just read the Bible alone.
Yes.
I read a lot of different books and do a lot of different researches. And in doing my research, I come across a man called Haile Selassie the first. And in that research, get to find out that this man Haile Selassie the first is the defender of the Christian faith. So a lot of people look upon us as Rasta and them say, you're not a Christian. But them say that out of ignorance. Because now if they study Haile Selassie of Ethiopia, that man was a Christian man and he was the defender of the Christian faith. Seeing so, I can study and listen to men and people who will come and say, well, boy, fire born of Jesus or fire born of this or fire born of that. Me deal with what my research tell I.
Yes.
And my research tell I say that we come out of a Christian concept. Rastafari come out of a Christian concept.
Yes.
Seeing, and that's the faith I hold on to, and that's what I follow after. You know what I mean? What my research. I mean, I really research or listen to people and what they say. Because a lot of time people just talk from hearsay.
Yes.
Them not go and research and read for themselves. They just see a next person say something and they just repeat it.
Yes.
They don't go and research and find out for themselves. And give thanks to my dad that instilled that within me. Reading vibes, you know? Yeah.
And I'm happy that you talk about reading because I find people don't do a lot of that, especially here in these smaller parts. Like, I was teaching my son, like I bought a newspaper on Saturday. Well, and now he knows. So when we go to the supermarket, he said, "Mommy, did you get the newspaper?" And I like to read the newspaper because not necessarily for the news, because of course in news in all social media and everywhere, but just the fact that I want to read.
Seeing.
You know, and I can remember when I studied in England, and every morning you would go on the train or on the bus, and they had this newspaper that would be on the bus, and you would find everybody reading on the train, at the bus stop, everywhere. People that you always had, and I was thinking, I wonder if we could introduce a concept like that in Nevis, where we get people to really start reading newspapers. Like, cause you go on the bus, everybody reading. I forgot the name of the newspaper, but it's just one of those that comes out daily, and you know, it's everybody pick up that. It's like a ritual.
It's exercise too, you know, sis.
Yes, and everybody just
it's exercise. Exercise for the brain.
Yes,
it's exercise for the brain, man. I figured that out too.
Yeah. And we hear people don't want to read anything. People don't even want to read a basic sign. That's their clothes. You know, the sign might be there, they say like, but in their clothes, I'm like, you see the sign?
It's true.
You know,
people
don't want to even adjust their minds to reading. And my husband and I just have this debate because every time we buy something and he has to install it, put it together, I have to laugh. The instructions there, and he's like, "Oh, but Cleone, how so go?" I'm like, "I think you should just read it."
True.
You know, it tells you, it spells it out. How about you just read it? Oh, I don't have time with that. Let me look at the picture. Okay, so this could go this way. And he did try to figure out the thing when he could just read the instructions. And sometimes we get so lazy, and even I myself included in this, because I really used to be, you know, an avid reader. I used to like read all kind of things, anything. Right. But I find now, perhaps with scheduling and time, and so I don't read, but I have to make a conscious effort to read, set some time out to just read a book. You know, it's a good thing. It helps you to think and develop your mind. And even with children, like my son, I have to literally force him to read. And I have to tell him, you know, you have to read this book and things like that, because don't want to read. How have you gonna learn? How are you gonna understand if you do not want to read? And I find a lot of times, even within the school system, I would have, children who go through, they come right up to sixth form, and you ask them to do something, and they don't know. And I'm like, well, how you went to? How you don't know this?
And you forget.
I mean, I find even in my classes, some of the kids, I tell them, say, yo, lift up your right hand. And they don't know.
Yes.
And me not talk about no preschoolers, I talk about kids in primary school.
Wow.
Right hand, left hand. And they can't, and they're like trying to figure out which is the right hand, which is the left. And it's something fundamentally now go on there some way, somehow.
Yes.
I
believe so. Right hand and left hand hard to find.
Huh?
Right hand and left hand hard to find. Sometimes I have to say right hand, left hand. Okay, we like with the right hand. Sorry.
Yeah, but I
guess it means like when they really think about it, because I would catch you off guard once in a while.
Because sometimes you say go left. And you're like, go left.
Yeah, but you catch it.
Left.
Yeah,
what he's saying is that
they literally don't know.
They
literally
don't know.
Yeah, I find we need to go back to reading, because what I find now in the education system, and I can attest to this, where children study to pass, so and they are given the topics. So if they know we're going to do verbs, well, they're going to study verbs, and they're going to tell you everything about verb. But you throw adverb in there.
Right? You throw them off.
But completely. Oh, teacher, you didn't say we're going to get
the adverb.
But hello. And I'm like, you have to read. You have to constantly read. And as you talk about your dad, and he was a reader. My grandmother was a reader, and I had to read. I had to read, like I had to comprehend. You had to analyze. I'm always reading. And as a child, that's what you had to do. Well, the truth is you really didn't have anything else to do. Any other alternatives.
That's true.
You had to read the storybooks and the Nancy Drew and all of those things. And I find, like, I'm telling my son something about Nancy Drew the other day, and he's like,
okay.
Peppa Pig. And and it's so amazing how in just a short space of time, because I'm still in my late 30s, but I'm not too far. And so coming from that, when I was a teenager, when you had to read all of these books, so coming to now where they have iPads and everything is about Netflix, and he knows all these things on Netflix and what have you, and they don't want to read a book. It's sad. It's trying.
It is.
I had to walk, come all the way to town, go by the library, go up in the library, walk to the library, find me book them, and do me research. Sit down in the library and me read do me research. Nowadays you just go on your Google.
Yeah.
But
so
you see
that effort is not there anymore.
That is true.
Yeah, that effort we have to put out to gain. It's not there anymore, because you just easily go up on Google and say, yo, Google, Siri, wherever story, and you get all the information right there.
Yep.
So that putting out of that effort, it means a lot, It shapes you,
It does.
It makes you value what you're going for.
Yeah, man.
It makes you value what you're going for, because I encounter this on a daily, where when, as you said, in my time, I remember one time I was sent out of primary class, out of a primary school, because I forgot to bring my news article.
Yes.
And that meant you either had to sit down and listen to it, or you have to bring the article to school. And so those were things that would have forced us to read. You had to read. We had to, one, read, and two, stay abreast of current affairs and those kind of stuff.
True.
And living in a technological world, we find that our children, as you say, a book is just a book. You understand? But the concept of reading goes just beyond calling words. We have to ensure that our children are reading to understand.
True,
our children are reading to comprehend, and that our children are able to read to apply. You understand? So yes, it's nice when you could call words, because I've seen children who, she could read, and then you ask, what did you just read?
Yes,
and they can't tell you nothing.
Yeah.
So the comprehension. Or you find that you just read about what to do in a hurricane, and then hurricane come yesterday, and you tell me that, teacher, my mother gas blow up. And you knew that before, when you read the story about what to do in a hurricane, you were to turn off your gas.
Yes.
How to apply what you have done in everyday life. So I think as parents, it is important that you encourage your children to read. But when you ask them to read and relay apply. How can you do this? If you were in this situation, what would you have done?
Yes.
And I find that children, they get frustrated when it takes time for when they have to explain themselves.
Yes.
Just settle. And what would you have done? Just think about it.
Yes.
Don't frustrate yourself. Just think about it. Oh well, I would have probably kicked the ball. You sure? Knowing the type of, because I like to tell my children, sir, knowing the type of person you be, you would have find the money and you would have keep it. I train a teacher how to keep the money, but you got to be fair, because the thing. So then they try to, and these are things that make you smile. Good. So what you know, whatever. So it goes beyond just seeing the newspaper and reading the newspaper just to say, I could call a word.
Yes.
But understanding and applying what you have read.
That is true. But I think we need to make a deliberate approach to get people back, and not just children, adults too, because some people don't want to read anything. And I as a lawyer, people would come and a lot of times I get this. For me, I have to read the document to make sure you understand it. So I have to study it no matter how long the document is. I have to read it and then ask questions, because I want to make sure. And people would come, you don't have to read it. I say yes. I have to read it, or you have to read it, because I have to make sure you understand what is in it and the consequences, the effect of it. And I find people just don't want to read. And yes, Evan Jeffers, thank you. It was a Metro. And the Metro was just a little newspaper with a snapshot of what's taking place daily in the news. And not much pages, maybe about a little bit of pages thin. And everybody used to read that, and okay, this is happening, pam, pam. And you keep up to date, and you get that, because you look at it. You're traveling on the bus. You don't have anything else to do. So while you're sitting down, it's a way to occupy your mind. And that's culturally like where the British does that religiously every day. And when I was there, I had to naturally fall in line.
See, because it's a little different too, because you see, in those places, on an average day, you could be on a bus for an hour or two.
Yes, that is true.
Not here in Nevis.
That is true.
Yeah, but you give you enough time to read one or two Facebook posts from Westbury to St. Thomas's Primary School. I could read one or two Facebook posts.
But you see, that surprised me, because you see, when they were talking about this virtual thing with the schools, it surprised me that the kids have not really take to it more.
Yes.
Because they're so much into this Facebook and where
human interaction is important, eh?
Oh no, man! I mean that is different between, I think, my generation and generation today.
Yes.
Human interaction.
Because we were not only what we were taught, but we were able to, like you said, to apply what we were taught.
Yes, you had to.
Because you have to come home, you have to go sweep your yard, you have to this, you have to that, and you got tools to do. Today, them youth not do nothing.
Tell me about it.
See, me had 100 and something goat and sheep. Me had to bring in every night and bring in the cattle them and get up in the morning and milk and boil the milk and bottle out the milk and run down the hill to me auntie and all kind of thing. You know what I mean? But kids today don't do those kind of things.
No, they don't. They don't. And,
you know what I mean?
And my son would say, I was telling him about chores. I said, you have to learn to do chores, because that's the way you're going to learn to do things for yourself. It helps train you to become a man. oh, mommy, why I have to do chores? Every day I have to do chores. I say, every day you eat.
I could remember one time I was in the cafeteria, and a child brought his plate and his cup, because he had finished eating late, and the cafeteria cooks had already cleaned up and everything. And I was washing my cup and plate, and he came in and he said, "Here you go, Mr. C." I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Please, you have to wash it for me, please." I said, "No, friend, I know how we walk." So now I said, "Let me show you. Take this. You see this? This is dish liquid. Me know. This is the rack. Me know. Okay, me glad you know. Because if you know, automatically we know what to apply. You know? And, he washing it, and, I caught him in a little comment. So I said, "So you don't wash dishes for him?" "No." "But who wash dishes for him?" "My big sister." And I was like, "But you at grade 4. "Yeah. I'm not supposed to wash dishes." "But you can wash that when you're to the door." You can wash it's because I think they take a lot of things for granted.
True.
Just the basics, things. I just be so surprised when one time one of my students recently said, "Teacher, I could cook here, and these days I'm gonna bring a meal for you." I mean, no. You just say, "I believe in it." So, and then I had to be like, okay, when you cook, bring the food. Because then I don't want to dampen his spirit. Yes. I said, "Oh, teacher, don't believe, So bring the food." So it surprised me that at least a young boy was like, "Teacher, I could cook." And at that age. So some parents, I think, are doing their part. And there's some that just fortunate that they could just go home and wake up the next day and repeat. Doing nothing.
Yeah, and you have to mold them. The times are different, and we perhaps can't go back to those times where Mr. Paris had all them goat and sheep. Exactly. I remember when I was growing up, my grandmother had this pig, and I remember the pig. I was probably like maybe around 5 or so, and she used to send me to feed this pig. And you have the big tire,
right?
The tire, right. And every time I go, this pig just wild and crazy and throwing me down. And I used to be like, Jesus Christ, every time. And then one day there was no pig. The pig went to the abattoir, and I was like, thank you, Jesus. But you see, you had those days, and you really appreciated what it meant to care for animals and to have to do your chores. And it taught you to be responsible, because you had to be responsible in doing certain things. And I see my aunt and uncle here on the live, and they're probably thinking, "Cleo feed pig." But I remember the pig for some reason, and I was like, these things, it taught you discipline, it taught you time management, it taught you how to appreciate, animals. True. And we don't have that. We don't have that.
I remember one time my mother bought a goat for a family member of ours, and I was like, "Dear Lord, if she buy me a goat, it's gonna die. It's gonna die." Because I just don't have that level of commitment to animals like that.
And
but,
it really taught us,
Yeah,
and
man,
it taught you to love and care, for animals and understanding.
Love and care for human beings too.
Yes.
You see?
And that is what is lacking today, why people could go and destroy farm. Because we had our backyard, like I was telling somebody, I don't know, this woman live in a small little house plot. I remember cassava, I remember peas patch, I remember pumpkin, I remember pepper, I remember everything. And I'm like, well, how she do all of that on this small piece of land? Right. And even the issue over there at Cadesby, I was telling somebody just today that I don't know where we get this thing from, where everybody feel that this is mine and we can't coexist. Everybody used to farm over there at Cadesby. Everybody, and their mother and their brother and their sister and their grandfather, and everybody had their own little plot. One would do onions, some would do pumpkin, some would do this, and they coexisted and they made it work. Then they would come and they would sell, and we had that support system, and we have that gone to the extent now where we're here, where people destroying crops.
To the point where you find like farmers are basically living in fear that what's going to happen to
Yes.
me tomorrow
Yeah.
if this happens now? What's gonna and for if you find that something has reoccurred more than once,
Yes.
this not the first time, and nothing is being done, nothing
Yes.
is being addressed, nothing. Then I, as a farmer, I'd have to start to get frightened.
Yes.
I, as a farmer, would
It's
have
a
to go and
deterrence.
sleep at my farm's
And put
gate
up security cameras or whatever.
to do what is needed because
Yes.
of the malicious acts of people who cannot coexist
Yes.
on a plot of land that I think that more than two men could have occupied. I just think that
Yeah, you're talking acres.
more could have been done, and a better approach to the system could have been done. Oh, somebody arguing one point, somebody's arguing the next point, but yet where do we meet in the common in the middle to say, friend, you do the top, me gonna do the bottom. Me keep out your way, me keep out your way. At least that.
Let's hear us on this.
I just think people just go upon this violent thing, take it on a different level,
Yes.
Down to even the very iPads and thing where you get to your little children. Down to the cartoons where they watch on TV.
Yes.
Lots of them thing is violent.
Very much so.
Very much.
And very rude, the language.
Yeah, especially nowadays. You know what I mean? So all these things translate and manifest within the children,
Yes, that's true.
Agree.
And then over the years, because when I left Nevis to go to the United States, Nevis was a producer of food.
Yep. Yes.
And I come back here after that time here, and Nevis now is a consumer,
Yes.
big time. I mean, the first week when I came back to Nevis, I go down in the market. And the market looked bare. So I asked one of the vendor them, well, what happened to the food? Jed, the Dominica boat not come yet.
Wow.
I mean, like Dominica boat. I mean, me just come back and leave it. No Dominica boat. And yeah, man tell me about Dominica. Me say, Dominica boat, you talking about? I say, Dominica boat, so you see the market looks scanty, Dominica boat not come yet. And me never know no Dominica boat.
Yeah.
So that means when I left, Nevis used to produce. When we come back,
No, we consume
it a consume.
Yeah.
So it to me, me not see no progress in that.
Yeah.
See, again too, it come down to what we talked about earlier with the cultural arts.
Yes.
The agricultural arts to me not get pushed too much either.
Yeah.
Over the
That is
years.
true.
Seeing like you were saying earlier, whole heap of lawyer and all kind of thing. That's the type of thing what they push. And then the cultural arts and agriculture and these natural things that is natural to us get a little shunned. But look at the results today. You know what I mean? Now the boat not come, we hungry on here.
That's true. And
See?
we hungry and we destroying
Trying
food.
food.
I have a problem with that.
Yes,
Okay, I have a serious problem with
Yes.
people going out there now to destroy. People don't understand what I'm saying. We too small for that.
Because
We gonna
sis,
starve.
if I could control what you eat, I could control you.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. And if outside people are control what Nevis people are eat, that
Yeah.
means them are control Nevis people.
Exactly. Yep.
So we have to get back to that position where we could feed ourselves at least. That food security at least.
Yes.
And then when you have people now go that mash up people farm and them kind of
Exactly.
think they're sickening,
Sad.
Yeah, man, them think they sick as me as a who is a vegetarian and thing, and me see man that's a chop up all them good banana and all kind of chop up them.
Exactly.
No, that's sickening to me because me eat them thing.
Yes.
Yeah, me eat them thing, and they just see people that destroy them thing they just saw.
Yeah. And I find
Is-
you
is-
don't have that outcry from the community. You know, you don't that people making excuses or I hear the leader of the country saying, "Oh, I don't know if a report was filed." Get up and do something. Do something. You should be out there now saying, "Listen, they should have a public appeal. Let us not do this because if we continue down this path, number one, how do you encourage young farmers to go into farming. It's a deterrence because people are going to have that fear that the same thing is going to happen to them. It's no one-off. It keeps happening over. I remember when it happened to Bynghi some years ago. It keeps happening to different people.
Oh, I never know that.
Yes, he had a similar incident where someone would have cut up his irrigation system and things like that. It keeps happening to people. I mean, farming, people put a lot of money and resources and time and effort into this, and it cannot just go where we think it's okay. Regardless of who it happens to, it's not okay.
And believe it or not, I think right about now, COVID-19 has forced us. Let me say forced us to depend now or to dig deeper into agriculture. Because as you rightfully say that someone is controlling what we eat. When we examine the pandemic, when you get that one free day to shop, and by the time your zone gets out, then you realize that only 2 milk on the shelf, and if you're not reaching time, that you're not getting no milk, and then because then these things stop versus I could have now looked at the local man now to produce to give me certain things. So now I think now at this level now that the government now should have been advocating for these farmers to live in harmony. Let us start the Farmers Association. Yes. Let us get this thing done. Let us know that our agriculture is booming. These persons, this is who is going to look at this, so that at the end of the day, our farmers are working cohesively to produce food security in our country.
Yes, and that is the approach that was needed. It's not a blame game. It doesn't matter who owns land, who leaves land. That is a secondary issue.
Exactly.
People have to learn to coexist. Nevis is too small. When, as you say, Ras, you lived in New York for many years. When you live out there in this country and you realize you can't even find Nevis on the map. People asking you, where in Jamaica is that?
You experience that too.
In Jamaica is that? You understand? People don't even know you exist. People don't even know Nevis exists.
I know.
Can you imagine that?
You're from Second Service. Oh, Jamaica. No, man.
But I had that experience, believe it or not, when Steve Marley was here for a music festival.
Yes.
And we go down to go visit him, and he said, but Jed, you from here? Me tell him, say, no. He said, well, where you come from? So I take him out and I tell him, you see a little rock over there? Over there me come from, He said, but where? You travel, come over here? I said, yeah. So you take boat and all them things, come over here?
Yes.
He said, but what over the name? I said, Nevis. He said, but I never hear about that before.
See? Yes.
Because they come for St. Kitts Music Festival.
Yes.
And regardless,
they
because
don't know.
I was so shocked when I went to Antigua one time. And an Antiguan gonna ask me, where is Nevis? How you gonna ask me that?
Yeah.
How you gonna and me down here I learn both Antigua, me down here I learn both Dominic, me learn by everybody, and you can ask me
and you could see
when
them
Nevis there, where St. Kitts
and you could see them on a clear day.
And a clear day I could
that is what I want us to understand here in Nevis, that in the wider world, we don't even exist. So when I will see the leader patting, I am the premier of Nevis, partner. Some people don't even know you exist in the real big world. So humble yourself and get you people to be united and get them to understand and appreciate. In order to survive, they have to work together. We don't have time for this division.
Yes, I agree.
We don't have the time. We cannot talk, especially in this time like COVID-19 time.
Everybody needs everybody.
Everybody, and it should have teach us
because I come up knowing that Nevis is a land of you for me for you. I could go buy Cleone and Cleone gonna give me a plate of food. Yeah. I could go buy Ronaldo, he gonna give me a shot to put on my back.
Yes.
But now we are fostering a culture of you for you, you for you, you survive. Every man for themselves. Yes. First man to shore, whoever out there swim, sing, whatever happened to you, God bless your soul.
I think that particular culture you're talking about developed after a lot of foreigners started to come here. It's just my personal opinion. The foreigners come and they brought their own religious practices and ways of life, and nothing wrong with that. But do it mesh with Nevis culture
Yes.
and how we traditionally live here. Seeing, and I find a lot of these things happening ever since the island kind of open up. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing with open up the island still into people, you know.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that still, you know. But I think if it's starting to affect the traditional way of life that has sustained I and I for centuries, start to affect that, I think we have to take a step back and a look at what going on and what happening.
I think so.
One other thing too, I think Nevis have too much politics.
Yep. I agree.
I find that when election come, that's when the partisan politics come into play. But you see, after the people elect their servants, I think it's time for the people, for the servants to serve the people and not a political party anymore.
That's true.
I agree.
Because the people decided, well, these are the servants that we elect to take care of our business. Now the servants must serve the people.
I agree.
And I find the incorporation of politics into even the cultural aspect of things is not too much of a good thing. I find, you know what I mean? Yes, we need the politicians to enact certain things financially and stuff like that, but certain things should be left to the practitioners. And the practitioners themselves should leave their partisan thing out of it. Come with a godly presence. That's how I will put it.
Yeah.
Come with that. You know, I mean, some people will say Christ-like presence. Well, come with that. If that's what you deal with, come with that. Muslim, come with that. But come with that presence of unity and love. Like we in the Rastafari faith, we just say one perfect love.
Yes.
See, so in a matter where, you know what I mean, a one perfect love.
That is true.
So that the whole country can progress, or the whole country can regress. In a one, you know what I mean? I mean, that's how I feel personally. I feel too much one thing is good for nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. And more across the board development of our cultural arts. Because that's what I push for, sis. I tell you one thing with me. Me push for that. Cultural art, development of the cultural arts here.
Yes.
And I feel that more involvement from both sides should be involved.
Yes,
Not just because I'm in power, this way. No. I feel it should be a one perfect love. Rasta love.
Yes.
So me look upon it, that's how I come up, that's how I think. And I don't think I got change from that, because that is my teaching.
Yes. Understood.
As a Rasta man, you know what I mean? That is my teaching.
Yep.
To promote the one love, you know what I mean? The one love concept. Whether black, white, different, CCM, NRP, whatever, it's a one love thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a one love thing. And God, I don't think God deal with division.
Exactly.
God deal with a one love concept and a one love vibe. So I think we more should move upon that level more and more and develop that, that one love concept amongst us as a nation, because we're small. You know what I mean? Me drive through some places in America or make Nevis look like Nevis don't even exist.
Yes.
I mean, I talk about Houston before. Just the downtown of Houston alone is bigger than Nevis.
Yep.
See, it takes 3 hours just to drive through the downtown Houston. 3 hours to drive through downtown Houston. Nevis, you drive on Nevis in a matter of minutes.
That's true. Yes.
So Nevis is small, a small place, but it's Talawa.
Yes.
Yeah, we're small, but we talent.
Yeah, Italawa man, and the talent and the cultural expression that is here is rich.
Yes.
If people out there in whoever listen now, watch, don't know, me tell you right you now. Nevis is a rich place. We just need to harness the power, harness it and focus it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring this show to a close though. So we're going to just, have some final words out there. I just want to thank everyone who tuned into the show and who tuned in on the live and commented. Thank you so much. I encourage you to continue to support Legendary because it's an outlet, an avenue for us to educate ourselves, educate our children, to showcase the talents and learn about products such as Mr. Paris here. And so I just want to thank everyone for your continued support and encourage people to tune in and listen. It's an educational program where we are promoting the visions of ordinary legends. So, Ras, your final words?
Give thanks to the students that tune in. Salute thee. I hope you learned something tonight. Give thanks. And to everybody else, give thanks. And to Legendary, give thanks for the invitation. Blessed.
Thank you so much. Shonroy, any final words?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure to be with you for the past 2 weeks. I think your usual co-host should be back by next week. But definitely, I won't be a stranger. So once needed, I'll be right there in the background. And so I also thank you guys for considering me to co-host with you guys for the past 2 Wednesdays, and I really appreciate it. And I think that we continue to groom and look for our legends in society.
Yes.
2020 Vision Radio.com. My radio station.
Legendary, promoting the vision of ordinary legends. Tune into 2020 Vision Radio every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. with the Honorable Cleone Stapleton-Simmonds and Desil Hamilton.
Legendary is a show promoting the visions of ordinary legends, and I am Honorable Cleone Stapleton-Simmonds along with my fabulous co-host, Desil Hamilton.
I am Desil Hamilton. I'm excited as well to be here for Legendary, just to uplift and enhance people and show what people in our society are doing to uplift our country and the nation.
Call in live on WhatsApp via 869-669-7312. Our direct mobile number is 766-7312 and our landline number is 469-7953. Overseas callers can call in on 917-460-2187. Legendary, live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on 2020 Vision Radio.
Just like you. If you take a look inside, you see the great things that people do. Some things are just never said, no. Story of my life, ordinary person just like you. If you take a look inside.